The topic is spirituality and true freedom, and we're talking to Dr. CPoe. Dr. Poe, before we had our first commercial break, we promised that we would give you an opportunity to talk about true freedom, and of course you've given us some information in reference to what true freedom is not. Let's talk about what true freedom might be from your perspective.
Okay. It's interesting and rather surprising in the minds of, I think, many people that true freedom has a number of synonyms that people are familiar with. One, true freedom is a synonym for true happiness. True freedom is a synonym for true fulfillment. True freedom is a synonym for the victorious life. True freedom is a synonym for the abundant life. True freedom is a synonym for ongoing peace, ongoing joy. So the truth of the matter is that I believe God works in each person that he creates, or that he has created, and moves us from selfishness or self-centeredness to true freedom. And when we arrive at true freedom, and I believe it's a gift, okay, which is a byproduct of God's grace, his mercy, his love, related to our obedience, when we get there, then we discover that we have received true happiness, true fulfillment, true joy, true peace, and the abundant life.
And it really doesn't matter what our economic status is when we arrive there, and we're always moving toward that if we are in search of this true freedom. Would that be a correct?
Absolutely. It is not an economic matter. It is not an educational matter. It is not an appearance matter, a physical appearance matter. It's not a status matter, but rather it's a spiritual phenomenon. True freedom is a spiritual phenomenon. And I'm convinced that God created us for true freedom. He created us to seek it and to find it and to receive it. But he's the only source of it. It cannot come from wealth, monetary wealth. It does not come from education, as we just said, or status. Because if it came from wealth, then the rich would be truly free, and the poor would be in bondage.
Okay, very good. And we know that's not true in any respect. Okay, very good.
Absolutely. As a matter of fact, the real slavery is selfishness. Real slavery is a byproduct of selfishness. And of course, we know that there's physical slavery, okay? But spiritual slavery is essentially a byproduct of one's own selfishness. Unfortunately, too many people are driven by the desire to please themselves.
Okay, that's where you talk about selfishness.
Yes, that's selfishness, and that's self-centeredness. If I'm driven daily, if my purpose in life is to please me, to advance me, to do for me, to satisfy me, all right? That's a me-centered perspective. That's a me-centered or a self-centered life, right?
Very good.
We've discovered that people who are giving, people who are altruistic, people who do for others are healthier physically, psychologically, socially, and spiritually, okay? God has created us such that you cannot be selfish and happy at the same time.
Okay, very
that is
good.
truly happy now, all right? You cannot be selfish and know true freedom, all right? True freedom is the other side of selfishness. Selfishness is the other side of true freedom.
And so you can move out of selfishness by moving toward true freedom.
Yes.
But if you continue to remain in selfishness, you will never be able to achieve what you're now describing as true freedom, and that is, in a real sense, pleasing God.
Absolutely.
Because God is not pleased with our self-centeredness and our selfishness. Is that?
Absolutely. What pleases God, I'm glad you raised that question or made that comment. What pleases God is our unselfishness. It is our giving to others. It's our helping others. It's our saying no to ourselves in order to say yes to what God wants us to do. The example, Mother Teresa, very self-giving. Mahatma Gandhi, very self-giving. Dr. Martin Luther King, very self-giving. Sojourner Truth, very self-giving. All right? A good, caring mother is very self-giving. A good, caring father is very self-giving. Life is about God, and God is about giving.
And any time that you put yourself, put others in front of yourself, that's self-giving. Is that
That's self-giving. Whenever you try to relieve the pain, the stress, the discomfort of another person, whenever you're willing to say no to what you want in order to say yes to helping someone else satisfy their needs, then you are self-giving. Then you are worshiping God. Because worship really is caring for other people. Imagine now, here's someone who's in a city away from home. They've got a good job, living in a nice home. The mother gets sick, all right? And so there's a conflict between, should I stay and hire somebody to take care of her, or should I return home and give her the kind of care that she needs, okay? Self-giving would be to return home, okay? Perhaps at a loss of income, loss of status, and to minister to the needs of that mother.
Dr. Poe, I think you just described a situation that has happened recently in my own family. My mother went to the hospital, and both my sisters came from California and from Memphis, from Indiana and from Memphis, and they came at their own expense and at the expense of leaving their jobs and et cetera, so that they could be there in order to administer to her at that period. And so you're saying that to do that is to simply forget self, and that's, of course, that's what they've done. I mean, they've simply dropped everything in their own places, their husbands, the whole thing, and they've come to mother. Is that the kind of attitude?
Yes, that's the kind of giving, the kind of attitude, the kind of caring that delights or brings joy to the heart of God. And whenever we please God, He pleases us in ways that we can't begin to imagine. And so what we're saying is, true freedom is a byproduct of those kinds of decisions. True freedom is a byproduct of caring for others. It's a byproduct of putting oneself second and putting others first. That's what we're saying. That's the source of true freedom. True freedom comes as a result of that kind of focus.
And there's also, would you say that there's also something mentally and emotionally that you feel once you make those kinds of commitments? Is that true?
Absolutely. We can see it in a very simple act. When I do something that helps you or helps someone else, I feel within my spirit good. Is that right?
I think a lot of people experience that without understanding exactly why they so feel. And of course, Dr. Poe, let us stop this commercial break, and we'll pick up, and we'll be back with our audience following this very, very short commercial break. Dr. CPoe2,